I now give the floor to the representative of Pakistan.
Thank you, Mr. President. We thank you for convening this urgent meeting at the request of Algeria, Pakistan, and Somalia, and supported by other Council members. We also thank Under Secretary General De Carlo for her briefing. We welcome the presence of His Excellency Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdurrahman Al Thani, the Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs of the State of Qatar. We also welcome the participation of the Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister of Jordan, the representatives of UAE, Turkey, Iraq, Kuwait, and Egypt to this meeting. Pakistan condemns in the strongest possible terms the illegal and unprovoked Israeli aggression against the brotherly state of Qatar. This reckless and provocative attack constitutes a flagrant violation of the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Qatar, contrary to the fundamental principles of international law, including the UN Charter, in particular its Article 2.4, prohibiting the threat or use of force. As the Prime Minister of Pakistan has stated, this act of aggression by Israel is totally unjustified and constitutes a most dangerous provocation that could imperil regional peace and stability. The Israeli strikes targeted a residential neighborhood, deliberately endangering civilians, and thus also constitute a grave breach of international humanitarian law. This brazen and illegal assault is not an isolated incident. Rather, it is part of a broader and consistent pattern of aggression and violation of international law by Israel that undermines regional peace and stability. Pakistan expresses its complete solidarity with the government and people of Qatar and fully supports their inalienable right to take all necessary measures in accordance with the UN Charter to defend their sovereignty, territorial integrity, and the safety of all persons within their territory. In a gesture of solidarity and regional unity, the Prime Minister of Pakistan, His Excellency Mohammad Shehbaz Sharif, accompanied by a high-level delegation, including the Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister of Pakistan, is visiting Qatar today. The visit underscores Pakistan's unwavering support for the security and sovereignty of Qatar and its commitment to peace and stability in the Middle East. Mr. President, this irresponsible action by Israel is yet another manifestation of its systematic disregard for international law and its brazen policy of destabilizing the region. It adds to its long and dubious record of aggression, brutal military actions in Gaza, repeated cross-border strikes in Syria, Lebanon, Iran, and Yemen, all of which amount to violations of the UN Charter and international humanitarian law. Such acts of aggression, as defined by UN General Assembly Resolution 3314, also set a dangerous precedent, erode the primacy of rule of law, and breed a culture of impunity that threatens the security of all states. In view of the gravity of the situation, an extraordinary Arab Islamic Summit will take place in Doha on 15 September with a view to ensuring a united response to Israel's aggression and to reaffirm the primacy of international law and the UN Charter. Pakistan will participate in this important meeting at the high level. Mr. President, at a time when delicate negotiations on Gaza peace deal were progressing towards a possible breakthrough, striking the territory of a principal mediator and those directly involved in negotiations is a deliberate attempt to sabotage diplomacy, derail peace efforts, and prolong the suffering of civilians. it is evident that Israel, the occupying power, is bent on doing everything to undermine and blow up every possibility of peace. It also raises serious questions whether the return of hostages was indeed a priority. Clearly, Israel's destructive policies are incompatible with the international community's quest for peace and stability. Sadly, it has been emboldened by the weak response and inaction by this Council. Pakistan commends Qatar's important and constructive role in facilitating mediation efforts, including for a ceasefire and release of hostages, which has been widely and consistently appreciated by all Council members, together with the role of Egypt and the United States. We recognize Qatar's tireless and principled engagement with all parties, often under most challenging circumstances, to keep the channels of dialogue open and advance prospects of peace. Qatar has consistently demonstrated leadership, wisdom, and commitment to humanitarian principles, working in close coordination with regional and international partners to bridge divides, promote peace, reduce tensions, and alleviate the plight of the Palestinian people. Undermining such a credible and indispensable mediator threatens to extinguish one of the few viable pathways towards a just and lasting peace. Targeting Qatar is thus not only an attack on a sovereign state, but also an attack on diplomacy and mediation itself. Pakistan welcomes the Security Council's condemnation of the strikes in Doha and expression of support for the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Qatar in line with the principles of the UN Charter. The Council must go beyond, must hold Israel accountable, safeguard the role and protection of mediators engaged in peace efforts, and recommit to the centrality of international law and the UN Charter in maintaining international peace and security. Mr. President, the root cause of recurring crises and instability in the Middle East is Israel's prolonged occupation of Arab lands and its persistent defiance of international law and international legitimacy. Durable peace can only be achieved through a comprehensive political settlement, including an end to the occupation of Arab lands, particularly the occupied Palestinian territories. Pakistan calls for an immediate, unconditional, and permanent ceasefire across Gaza and all occupied Palestinian territories. Full and unimpeded humanitarian access to the besieged and starved Palestinian population, and reinvigoration of a genuine and irreversible political process to end the Israeli occupation, leading to the realization of a sovereign, viable, and contiguous Palestinian state based on the pre-1967 borders, with Al-Quds al-Sharif as its capital. Pakistan stands shoulder to shoulder with the leadership and the brotherly people of Qatar in defense of their sovereignty, dignity, and territorial integrity. We remain steadfast in our commitment to uphold the principles of international law and the UN Charter, and to work with the international community to secure lasting peace in the Middle East. I thank you.
I thank the representative of Pakistan for the statement.